Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel Sparkle English, where I teach you how to improve your English writing skills. This is a lesson for my more advanced English students. Today I'm going to talk about how we use semicolons in complex lists. So most of you know that you use commas in lists, and this is generally true. However, there are some instances where we use semicolons in lists. So let's find out when. First of all, what is a simple list? Well, when we have a list that contains 3 or more things, we use commas to separate these things. So let's look at this example. Mom bought bread and pasta. Here we only have 2 things in this list, so we don't use commas. If we have Mom bought bread, cheese, and pasta, well, we're missing commas here. It almost looks like bread cheese is a type of cheese. We need to separate these things with commas. So, therefore, we write Mom bought bread, comma, cheese, comma, and pasta. Now, the comma before and is known as the Oxford comma or the serial comma. It is technically optional. In this video, we will be using the Oxford comma. And here's another example. Mom bought bread, comma, cheese, comma, tomato sauce, comma, and pasta. And having these commas helps us separate that these are individual items. Now also note that simple lists may be comprised of nouns, verbs, adjectives, or clauses. So just because a list is longer does not mean we use a semicolon. For example, I love playing football, basketball, and baseball. Here we have a series of nouns. He is kind, generous, and loving. Here we have a list of adjectives. And here we have a longer list. You need to feed the dogs, make your bed, clean your room, and do your homework. Now this is a longer list, but we still use commas. We don't have any extra punctuation within each element of this list. Now let me show you what I mean by that. So what is a complex list? Well, we can use semicolons in lists when the items listed already contain a comma. So let's look at how this can happen. For example, we're going to spend the summer in England, Italy, and Portugal. This is a simple list. What if we had this? We're going to spend the summer in Manchester, England, Rome, Italy, and Lisbon, Portugal. When we only use commas, it looks like we're talking about 6 different places. Maybe not everyone knows that Manchester is in England. We're going to spend the summer in Manchester, in England, in Rome, in Italy, in Lisbon, and in Portugal. When clearly Manchester, England is one item, Rome, Italy is one item, and Lisbon, Portugal is one item. But all these commas make it confusing, especially if there were more places we were listing. So because this item, if we separate it alone, it already contains a comma, we need to use semicolons in this list instead of commas. So we're going to write this. We're going to spend the summer in Manchester, England, semicolon, Rome, Italy, semicolon, and Lisbon, Portugal. And now that we've added the semicolons, it's very clear we're talking about 3 places and not 6 places. It's easier on the eyes, it's easier to understand and to read. Let's look at more examples of when this can happen. I'm going to the cinema with my older brother, Jack, my sister, Carol, and my cousin. Okay, written like this, with just commas, it looks like we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. And if you are talking about 5 people, that's fine. But what I'm trying to say is that my older brother is named Jack. My sister is named Carol. But this looks like we're talking about Jack and Carol and my cousin and my brother and my sister. So we'll fix that with semicolons. I'm going to the cinema with my older brother Jack, semicolon, my sister Carol, semicolon, and my cousin. And now it's clear we're talking about 3 different people. Here's another example. The conference will be attended by Rick Jones, CEO of XYZ Corporation, semicolon, Mary Lee, VP of Marketing, semicolon, and Tom Hilton, CFO. Again, by using semicolons between these items, we're making it clear that this is 3 different people in this list and not 6. Let's look at one final example using coordinate adjectives. So I do have a video that I will link you to in the description below on using commas with coordinate adjectives. But for example, we had, I met a funny, humble doctor, an arrogant, rude lawyer, and a sweet, kind teacher at the Christmas party. There's just too many commas here. There's a comma between the coordinate adjectives and after the profession, and it just looks too busy. We need to separate this with semicolons. I met a funny, humble doctor, semicolon, an arrogant, rude lawyer, semicolon, and a sweet, kind teacher at the Christmas party. And now it's very clear we've separated this into 3 different groups. You would continue to use semicolons if you had more items in the list as well. Okay, so now we're going to do a very short quiz. There's only 4 questions. You have to add commas and or semicolons to these lists. First, determine if it's a simple list or a complex list. And then you'll know when and where to add the commas or semicolons. Number 1, we need to bake cookies, decorate the kitchen, and blow up all the balloons for the party. Number 2, I want to take my sister to the markets in Madrid, Spain, the caves in Lagos, Portugal, and the parks in London, England. Number 3, the cat is sleeping on the couch, the dog is barking at the mailman, and the hamster is sleeping in its cage. Finally, number 4, tonight's speakers will be Laura Perry, CEO, Todd Matthews, Head of HR, and Kent Clark. Okay, let's correct these together. In number 1, it's a simple list. So we need to bake cookies, comma, decorate the kitchen, comma, and blow up all the balloons for the party. Again, the comma before and is optional, but we are using the Oxford comma in my videos. Number 2, this one is a complex list. I want to take my sister to the markets in Madrid, comma, Spain. Now we have to put a semicolon because we already have a comma, and this is the first item in our list. The caves in Lagos, comma, Portugal, and now another semicolon, and the parks in London, comma, England. Okay. Number 3 is a long list, but it's still a simple list. We don't have any other commas in here, so we don't need to use semicolons. The cat is sleeping on the couch, comma. The dog is barking at the mailman, comma. And the hamster is sleeping in its cage. And finally, number 4 is a complex list, so we have to use commas and semicolons. Tonight's speakers will be Laura Perry, comma, CEO, semicolon. Of course, remember that after the semicolon and after a comma, there is a space. Todd Matthews, comma, Head of HR, semicolon, and Kent Clark. Okay, so let me know in the comments section how many you got correct out of 4. If you want any more help on how to use semicolons, make sure to check out my semicolon rules video, which I have linked you to in the description below as well. If you want any more help on how to use semicolons or more quizzes or more practice, let me know in the comments section and I can make some more videos related to this. Make sure to click like, make sure to subscribe to Sparkle English for more videos like this one, and I will see you guys in my next lesson.